Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So we have been talking about Hedera extensively on this channel, as you guys are probably already aware of. I don't think I need to even mention it, right? I'm an HBAR bull. It's that simple, right? I think that Hedera is going to be a massive giant around this space. I think that HBAR is going to be one of the biggest crypto projects in this space as well. And, so far, with all of the moves being made around Hedera, I think that it's really shining, I think that it's shining a spotlight on the fact that HBAR is a completely different beast this time around, since going all the way back to like 2021, for an example. But the thing that I really want to focus on when it comes to Hedera, and specifically some of the moves being made, is right now, all the hype is eviscerated from this market. Nobody cares about, the hype machine around AI or tokenization or anything like that. But one thing that will shine among all of that is projects that are still building, still making noise. I said this back in 2022 when everyone was bearish, and it was kind of leading into 2023 as well. I said during that time, and I'll say it again even now, you want to focus on these projects that are not getting shaken out from, building, moving forward. No, Hedera's locked in. Hedera does not care about the price action. Hedera doesn't care about the environment around crypto. The Hedera team cares about one thing: expanding. They want to expand, they want to build, they want to grow, and they want to make sure that Hedera is that 100-year company. Now you could say, well, Nick, you're biased. You're an HBAR bull. You support HBAR. Yeah, I do. But guess what? I'm not paid to support HBAR. In fact, I don't actually have any connection to the Hedera team. I just think that this is going to be one of those big projects that a lot of people will look back on and say, it was so obvious, but I ignored the signs. But let's actually talk about it, right? Let's talk about this recent announcement, because Alchemy Pay is here. And Alchemy Pay, ACH, is a project that I've also supported. And in fact, I still support to this day because it is a big giant for the on and off ramp, side of crypto. We have here Hedera USDC and HBAR are now supported by Alchemy Pay's on ramp. So Circle on Hedera and HBAR are now supported within this on ramp. This is very exciting because, number one, Alchemy Pay is a giant now. They have over 300,000, almost 400,000 followers on X. They've been expanding rapidly as well. And we have HBAR and the Hedera native USDC are now supported on Alchemy Pay on-ramp, accelerating access to Hedera's RWA, AI, and DeFi ecosystems. And if we actually look at the announcement over here, first off, this is going to show you guys how big Alchemy Pay is. But we have down here, Alchemy Pay, a world-leading fiat crypto payment gateway, has joined forces with Hedera and integrated Hedera's native HBAR and USDC into its on-ramp solution, enabling seamless fiat purchases of these assets via credit cards, bank transfers, and popular local payment methods. By joining forces, Alchemy Pay and the HBAR Foundation are lowering the barriers to entry for users looking to engage with the Hedera network. Through Alchemy Pay's seamless fiat crypto payment gateway, users can now purchase HBAR and USDC on Hedera with greater convenience, security, and compliance, accelerating the growth of the Hedera ecosystem and expanding its global reach. Governed by the world's leading organizations, Hedera provides the trust layer of the digital economy, offering a high-performance, secure, and sustainable distributed ledger technology network. Through its enterprise-grade credentials, Hedera has emerged as a leader in the institutional real-world asset tokenization and AI, whilst also fostering a growing DeFi economy. Now, here we have the spotlight on how big Alchemy Pay actually is. So, as a leading crypto payment provider, Alchemy Pay has built a trusted global infrastructure supporting 50-plus fiat currencies and providing localized payment solutions across 173 countries. In 2024 alone, it recorded 3 million registered users, 8 million transactions, and 3 times growth, reinforcing its role as a key bridge between traditional finance and Web3, with regulatory approvals in key markets including the UK, Switzerland, the US, Canada, Australia, South Korea, Indonesia, and Lithuania, and a network of 300-plus payment channels. Alchemy Pay continues to set the standard for globally accessible, compliant, and efficient crypto payments. Absolutely love to see these two converging like this. I think that this is going to be huge for the Hedera ecosystem. And yeah, it just shows you that Hedera is starting to collaborate with some of the biggest names in the space. Alchemy Pay, Ripple with XRP. You also have, Algo. I mean, guys, the connections back to Hedera are very significant, not to even mention XDC. But on top of that, let's actually go over here to RWAs. So Lunar Crush recently put out a post talking about checking in on RWAs. These assets are seeing top social interest across the sector today. And we have HBAR being number 2 in terms of the mentions, over 3,970 mentions. Love to see it. Now, this is right next to players like Ondo, which are substantial giants. I've talked about Ondo over the last couple weeks because of how big Ondo is becoming around the tokenization space. Avalanche is very close to it as well, and Link is also very close to it. Love to see it. I think that this is great for Hedera to really kind of be spotlighted around the RWA side and have a little bit of a spotlight put on them. And I just think that this is great. Now, talking more so about tokenization. In a recent video, I talked about how $397 trillion, I think it might actually be 379 trillion, but I said that that's not a lot of money. And a lot of people were saying, Nick, you're crazy if you think that that's not a lot of money. Well, I'm going to talk about why it's not here in a second. But first, tokenization is becoming a much bigger hit around this space. Even though we have been watching as, the hype around RWA tokenization has been really kind of dying down, the big focus is what's happening behind the hype, okay? So while this market is kind of giving up on a lot of the big, hype narratives like RWA tokenization or AI, we have Wisdom Tree and the institutions, by the way, expanding institutional tokenized fund platform to Arbitrum, Avalanche Base, and Optimism. So even though the hype and the retail focus around these narratives are kind of dying down, the institutional focus is still there. Even over here, we have Wall Street giant DTCC unveils tokenized collateral platform in crypto push. The DTCC has been really working on a lot of tokenization initiatives, but this one's definitely big. But we have here the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation is launching a blockchain-based platform for tokenized collateral management to enhance efficiency in real-time operations. The new platform aims to address inefficiencies in traditional systems by using smart contracts for automated collateral options, enabling complex trades across markets. The DTCC will demonstrate the platform's capabilities at an industry event on April 23rd and plans to work with regulators to establish global standards for tokenized collateral. Now, they're also looking at tokenized securities. And that's where I say, yeah, 379 trillion, or even let's just round it up to $400 trillion. It's not that much money, because when you look at what the DTCC moves per year in just securities, it's $3 quadrillion. Now, this is one big player moving $3 quadrillion. Just imagine how much money is actually moved every single year. I mean, the amount of money actually out there in the world is shocking to a lot of people. But all of this will eventually move on chain when you have these players now looking into tokenization. Even if we scroll up, by the way, this is their 2023 annual report. Just imagine how much money they actually moved in 2024. But if we look at their strategic pillars here, they're looking at modernization, digitalization, automating, specific workflows. This is a company that is starting to diverge into the Web3 sector in a big way because they realize the value of being, first, essentially, but also being a part of a revolution this size. Now, let's go back to Hedera, right? So Hedera is starting to get mentioned quite a bit around the RWA side of things, but it's no surprise to me, actually, because of all of the events that Hedera has been, providing. For example, this was the Festival Web3 Hong Kong event, and this was actually a big one because this did completely focus on digital identity and open source tokenization initiatives. Now, it wasn't with some heavy hitters outside of HSBC, which, by the way, we know HSBC is tapped in with Ripple in a huge way. But again, this is just another one of the big things that Hedera has been doing over the last couple months that's really kind of setting the stage for them to be a big player in this space. These events do not go unnoticed. Even over here, we had another one, right? This was with the HBAR Foundation, and this was at Paris Block Week, which I did put a spotlight on in previous videos. Now, this is going to be happening on April 9th, but this is the truth behind tokenization and real-world assets. Now, this is with some big players tied to this. Again, it's just another big event to spotlight tokenization and how Hedera is leading the way around tokenization initiatives as well. Not to even, forget all of the big expansions that happened back in March as well. For an example, this one with ERC 3643, Greg Bell did quote this, which is an individual from Hedera. This partnership opens exciting new doors for Hedera tokenization initiatives and collaborations with large-scale institutions. 2025 is going to be an exciting year. Yeah, because behind the price action, behind all the negative sentiment, we're starting to see the shift happen in real time. We're starting to see the big move on utility-based projects. We're starting to see the big move on institutional DeFi and institutional tokenization. And these networks like Hedera are starting to be spotlighted in a big way. And they're starting to actually see an inflow of adoption. Now, on top of that, we also saw back in March, Hedera and XDC unite on tokenization discussions. Again, this is what I mean by Hedera's always collaborating with players in this space. Not to even mention the DREC Alliance. But again, this is why Hedera is becoming a big player, because they're not just trying to say, oh, hey, guess what? It's only about Hedera. No, they're working with the heavy hitters, XDC, the XRP Ledger. They're working with Algorand. They're working with Casper. They're working with Cardano. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on here. And I really do think that now is the best time to lock in and focus up and really kind of, say like, all right, well, what projects are going to be around for the next 5 to 10 years? And what opportunities are we being presented with right now around the bearish price action? Well, I think that HBAR is actually giving us a great opportunity with all the bearish price action, because it is back to significant levels that we haven't seen since going all the way back to like roughly November, December. And I think that, Hedera has to be spotlighted. It has to be spotlighted because of how much growth we have been witnessing over the last couple months. All of the moves that they're making with a lot of these big events, and not to mention the fact that we are going to see RWA XYZ starting to track all of the value of RWAs on Hedera very soon. I think that they said this month. I think that this is going to be a big catalyst for HBAR, because right now, a lot of the networks that are tied to this, the numbers aren't that significant, but we know that billions and billions of dollars were projected to be tokenized on Hedera over the last like roughly 12 months. So we don't know if that has started or not, but I would love to see how much money is actually tokenized right now on Hedera, which does also include stablecoins. Now, this actually excludes stablecoins, and we can see some of these huge networks that are, already seeing a lot of growth and a lot of value on chain. I wouldn't be surprised to see HBAR breaking into the top 5 on this list to have over $300+ million tied to it. But we'll have to see what happens when it does get added to RWA.xyz. I'm very excited to track that. I'm very excited to see how much growth is happening around Hedera, especially considering the fact that it is starting to become a very big name around the RWA side of things. But, I just love to see all of these big moves happening around Hedera. And it's really kind of spotlighting, like I said, the fact that HBAR is going to be, a lot bigger this year, because I still believe that the market bounces back in a huge way. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely will like, subscribe, set notifications on, because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.